All righty. Listen, you see the flyer. You can do it. That is from homelessness to $100,000 a month. I mean, is this hocus pocus? Is this real? Well, my special guest, my friend, and again, this is not something that he really wants to share, but because he knows it's going to help a whole lot of people, he's willing to bare his soul. So anybody who's hurt, you've been out, you've been down, you've got to hear this story. So my friend, without any further ado, I want you to hear from Mr. Tim Miller. Tim, is this really true, dude? Like you're in a wheelchair and homeless? Was that the case back last year?
Yeah, absolutely, Dr. Breakthrough. And actually, I keep it because I'm going to pin it up one day. I actually have the ID card from being in the homeless community. And I keep that with me every day to remind me of where I've been and what I've gone through and where I never want to go back to. But yeah, it's an absolute true story. A couple of years ago, first of all, I've been in the industry for 30 years. I've done very well in the industry. I've taken a couple of companies to the top, but it was the same old song and dance. And I started to see the good, the bad of what I loved about the industry, but I began to see things that I didn't like about the industry. I started seeing deals being made. I started seeing owners, cutting money from pay plans. Just a lot of lousy stuff that really put a bad taste in my mouth. But I was fortunate years ago, I got involved with Ben Galinsky in a company called Skinny Body Care. And we were able to build a multi-million-dollar company over there. And I was fortunate. I made about $4.5 million. And I wasn't even the top earner. We produced over 11 millionaires. It was a great run, 8 years. And that came to an end. Ben decided, you guys hear Ben's story, but he walked away from the industry because he was tired of it, of selling overpriced products to people, keeping them on forced auto ships, and just not the way of doing business when you're noticing that 95% of the people in this industry don't make any money. And that's just a fact. It doesn't matter what company it is. I'm not here to bash companies. Ben walked away and I became very ill. I was in and out of the hospital. I had 2 shots of double pneumonia. Blood clot to my lungs. I actually died. I coded out twice.
Wow.
The second time I went in, and it was crazy. But during that time, I noticed there was becoming some distance with me and my spouse, and just something wasn't right. I'm not even going to go through that story. But what happened was, I went from a big old $350,000 home I had paid for, the pool, the fence. I had 2 leased brand new Porsches. I was living the good life. Well, I thought I was, and I was making bad decisions with my money. So I went broke, and literally those 2 years without being really in the industry like I was, because of my illness, my income dropped and things weren't going well at home, and woke up one day and realized that my wife had left me, took my kids. I had sold the house. She ran away with the money on that deal. That's a whole nother story. But I woke up one day literally in an apartment with nothing, and the rent was due on that apartment, and I did what they call, I just squatted. I wouldn't leave for about 3 days. And then I finally figured it out and said, I got to get out of here. I got to do something. And I called the 911. And what I would do is play a little game with them. I knew that if I called 911 and told them I wanted to commit suicide, they would hold me. And at least I would get 3 meals a day in the hospital. And I knew how that game worked, but that didn't last long. They ended up moving me to a center where I stayed for a week, and they ended up releasing me, saying I wasn't crazy. And that's when they gave me a bus ticket to a homeless shelter. And I'll never forget, that was right there outside of Dallas. And I never forget getting to that homeless shelter and crying my eyes out because I had never been in that situation. I didn't know that lifestyle. And I ended up taking that bus ticket that they gave me. And instead of staying at the homeless shelter the first night, I literally went to the DFW airport. And at the DFW airport, I went over to the international side, and I literally just acted like I was catching a flight out the next morning. They ended up kicking me out the airport the next day because they knew what I was up to. I'm sitting there in a wheelchair in an airport where I spent the night, and I just had to suck it up. And I went back to the homeless shelter, and they had this deal where you had to check in every day at 2:00. You had to check into the men's side, and hopefully you would get a cot. Now, if you didn't get a cot, you didn't check in on time, and you didn't get a number, you didn't get a cot, you would end up on the streets, literally. You had to sleep outside in what they call tent city. But I was fortunate and blessed. I got a cot. And I would wake up every morning at 7 a.m. in the morning. They would get you up at 5, but till 7 o'clock. and we'd go over to a community center. And at the community, well, I'll tell you this story too. The first day I went back to the homeless shelter from the airport, my cell phone was literally stolen out of my hands from someone that was homeless. I found out. So I didn't even have a cell phone. Okay, I had nothing but the clothes on my back and my wheelchair. And they would wake us up in the mornings. We clean up best we could, and we'd go over to the community center that had where you could eat, hopefully get you something to eat, and you would eat there. And then they had services there, and one of the services they had computers. So I would hop on that computer about 8 o'clock in the morning, and I would stay on that computer till about 8 o'clock in the evening. That was my only way of reaching out to the world, was me and Facebook. We had a love affair, and I would get on there and I'd call my good friend Desiree every morning. She'd ask me how I was doing. Do we need to come get you? No, I'm fine. You know, my pride would get in there, and I would stay there till noon and literally roll back over to the shelter at 2 o'clock and check back in to get the cot for the night. And make a long story short, at the time I was a part of Live Good. And back then there was no power line marketing system. We were not international. There were no tools, and there was no money in it because we didn't have the compensation plan that you guys are aware of that we launched back in December. And so I would go over there and I'd shoot it out to a few people, and 9 out of the 10 people I would share it with on the internet would tell me no, like everything else. But a few people said yeah, and they hopped on board. They knew it wasn't no money in it, but it made sense where people could buy these nutritional products at the wholesale cost. And most of the people I brought in at first, Dr. Berth, I'll be honest with you, they were burnout network marketers. There were people that had been in the industry and had made money in the industry, but they were sick and tired of the industry. So we fooled around here and got started because we knew it was Ben. We knew the possibilities, and we hopped in this thing and we farted around. I was making checks each week, 20, 30 bucks here. And here I am in that homeless shelter, and I'd stayed there a week. And finally, my sister said she would take me in because I had to be released to somebody. Now, here's what I tell everybody who's listening to my voice right now. When I was telling Dr. Breakthrough this, when I was in the homeless shelter, I met a lot of people. Met a lot of different people from different places. Everybody has a story. But one thing I realized is a lot of the people that are homeless, they want to stay in that condition. They don't want to get out. I mean, I literally met people making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 a month in disability, social services, VA benefits, etc. And, they would go do their thing on the first of the month when they got their check. And then they were so used to that shelter, and all they were waiting on is to get approved for a housing credit where they can go out there and get a roof over their head. But that's all they cared about. Right. But I knew that wasn't a place for me. I've been around the industry.
And also, Tim, in all fairness, I mean, you got people that are on the streets. That's not their case, man. They're like, there's some people that are really hurting. But like you said, for some people, that's just what they do. But other people like that I've met that's on the street, man, they're willing to work. They're willing to do whatever.
Exactly. Exactly.
So you were in that place.
All mindset. And a lot of people.
Yeah, let me pause for a moment, the folks, because I want you to understand this. Because again, here's what I tell people: without a breakthrough mentality, nothing on earth can help you. With a breakthrough mentality, nothing on earth can stop you. And so that you're hearing this story of Tim. And by the way, I want to throw this in because Booker T. Washington says something powerful. He says success should not just be determined by what a person accomplishes, but by what they had to overcome to accomplish it. And so, folks, as you're hearing this story that Tim's telling you, in a wheelchair, lost his phone, so he's on a government phone. He's embarrassed because he's a guy used to having some stuff, and now he has nothing, right? But he comes back from nothing in a wheelchair, homeless shelter, going to the library, using the computer for a couple hours to make his comeback, my friend. So when God does something for somebody, he can do it for anybody. And he didn't just make you an anybody, he made you a somebody. So as you listen to the rest of the story, my friend, understand you are hearing this because, my friend, this is your opportunity to get your breakthrough, my friend. And we had the guy, there's a whole organization called Homeless Lives Matter. And the guy in charge of all of that, when he heard, I told him about Tim's story, he's like, man, we got to get that. And I want to sponsor, I want to pay for memberships, help a lot of homeless people. If it helped him to do that, I'm going to see if it can help some of them. And so, Tim, they're going to use you as the poster child. I hope you don't mind. But anyway, continue on with your story.
Yeah, man, it's funny. You had that picture up, and you can put it back up later, but that was actually me, and I'll never forget, Dr. Braithwaite, the day I went back to the homeless shelter where I had my phone stolen. Right up the street, I wanted to go hop on a computer, and it was at a Hyatt hotel, really nice hotel in Dallas. And I'm used to high quality stuff, man. I don't mess around. I mean, I've had suites in Vegas, and I've had the life, brother. And I'll never forget rolling over to that Hyatt to use the computer, and they would not even allow me in the lobby. And it was
Wow.
based on how I looked at that moment. And I had to bite my tongue because I just wanted to snap. And one day I do want to go back to that Hyatt, and I hope that same guy that didn't allow me in the lobby is still there, man. And I can't wait to go back to that homeless shelter and just give them a check for all that they did for me. Of giving me a cot was good enough for me. But I didn't want to be in that situation. Long story short, they gave me a bus ticket to Virginia, where I am now. My sister took me in. I had a one-way bus ticket. That was a whole nother adventure because I was in a wheelchair, and a lot of those buses weren't equipped. So I ended up taking a 2-day trip, turned into a week trip to get to Virginia. But anyway, I got to my sister's house. Now, here I am, a grown man, 54 years old, living with my older sister, and I had to live by her rules. Now, this young lady goes to sleep every night at 9 o'clock, period, lights out. And I wasn't used to that. I'm used to being up on my cell phone all night. And again, I didn't have a cell phone, but because when I got to Virginia, my sister went out and got my birth certificate. She got me some ID, which I didn't have. I mean, I had nothing but the clothes on my
Wow.
back. And after getting those few things for me, it allowed me to go online. Get this, I was able to go online. Any of you want the site, hit me up. I went online, and because I had food stamps or a card, it allowed me to instantly get approved for a government phone. And these jokers, just by going on the internet and putting in my information, they verified it some kind of way. They sent me the greatest gift on earth, a cell phone. And it was an Android. I was used to paying $1,000 for Apples. I'd never used Android. I used to talk about people with Androids. So they sent me a little Android phone, which I'm on right now, as a matter of fact. And because of that phone, I was able to hop on the internet, and we went to work. And I never forget that Ben met my sister through video chat, and we were just talking. And Ben let me know that we're going to launch this thing, and I'm going to turn on the Powerline marketing system. That's all I wanted because I used it before. I knew what that thing could do, and I started to get excited. He's going to turn on the Powerline system. He says, "I'm going to go international." I said, "International? What do you mean?" He said, "Yeah, we're going to open this up to the world." I said, "Wow." With the power line, and then he explained that pay plan to me, which I'm not going to cover right now. Long story short, we ran out there. He turned on the system December, I believe, December the 23rd, 26th, something like that. I went to work. I just went flat out online. I'm online 24/7. I'm getting my little 3-hour power naps. I'm going for it because here I am at my sister's house, homeless, coming from that situation, nothing but a cell phone. I hated living with my sister because, man, 9 o'clock lights out, but I had the phone now, so I could be on the internet all night, put my earbuds in, I'm good to go. And I stayed with her a month. And because of this opportunity here, was winning out there and on Facebook and social media, sharing and sharing and sharing and caring and saying, hey, just take this free tour.
Mm.
I didn't answer any questions. I didn't do any pitches. I wasn't doing any Zooms or webinars. Man, all I would tell people, Dr. Brady, is take the free tour. How does it work? Take the free tour. Well, how do you get paid? Take the free tour. That was it. Long story short, I want to say first 35 days, 40 days, we brought in 100,000 distributors.
Mm.
Insane. Never been done before. And those checks started coming. I was able to leave my sister's house and move into an extended stay hotel where I am actually doing this call from right now, loving my life. Man, and again, just flat out went to work. We started getting those checks coming in every single week. I started bringing in over $1,000 a week. I'm talking the first month running out. Why? Because I went to work. Now, I'm not going to sit here and tell everybody, yeah, you can make $1,000 a week. Now, it's your mindset. How bad do you want it?
Come on.
I was hungry. I'm still hungry. And checks started coming in, and then the monthly check started hitting. We kept growing and exploding. And I'll wrap this up, guys. This company's changed my life. I've made an excess of, it's getting close to $400,000. Well, it's over 400,000 now. This month will be the first month I come in earning literally over $100,000 of personal income. Guys, that's $1.2 million a year, from homeless to a millionaire in 6 months. And it can be done here, and everybody can do it. It's no secret. It's no technique. I didn't bring a team over with me. I didn't bring people with me. You got to remember, I was out the industry for almost 2 years. I mean, I was dabbling in it, but I wasn't doing it. I had been sick. So all of my organizations and teams had joined other companies or were off doing other things. So it wasn't like, I brought a team over. Tell you another thing here, I didn't get a deal. This company doesn't make deals. I was not placed at the top. I was not given any volume. I was not given any hookups. And a lot of that nonsense goes on in this industry, and people would be shocked to know what really happens out here. Not here with Live Good. We're doing it right, and we're just getting started. I mean, I was looking at the numbers before I hopped on here, Dr. Breakthrough. We will be tomorrow night, by Thursday night. So you want to get in now. We'll go over 550,000 members worldwide. This year alone, we'll do over 1 million members. Guys, this is life-changing. This is I've never saved this kind of money because I don't spend any money. I mean, I pay my extended stay bill. I think me and Uber have a love affair. I think me and DoorDash have a love affair right now. That's it. And everything else, I just, I'm banking up right now. I'm saving every dime. The goal is to get to Atlanta next month, and I'll be able to, I don't have to go in there nickel and dime. I'm going in there, I'm going to buy a house. I'm going to pay cash for it. I don't need a mortgage. And that's what this company's done for me. So anybody can do it. I don't know if you want me to share anything else. I hate telling that story, but I said I'd do it because I know you. I've known you long. We go way back, probably 20 years. Yeah, it's been over 20 years. And we met at a conference, and you've been doing your thing, and we're making it happen. We just want to bless other people, and that's what I appreciate so much about you, Dr. Breakthrough. You really care about people, and it's funny, the people I deal with. When I see people trying to get over or just trying to make a dollar off of people, it disgusts me. And when I see the little guy can win, I don't want to say homeless, okay? I take that with a grain of salt. Yeah, I was homeless, but no big deal. I'm no longer homeless because of my condition, my mindset, I was never homeless.
Come on.
I just didn't have a home. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just want to say, man, I appreciate you, everything you're doing, your organization. I mean, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to know to say, hey, Dr. Breakthrough's running with this thing. And this man has been around this industry for 20, 30 years. He works with leaders. He works with owners. He works with, the $1 million income earners. This guy speaks for them. He's on stage with them. He's at all the seminars, all the events. And I'm talking, he's a paid hand. He doesn't do it for free. And so he knows what I know. He knows the good, the bad, and the ugly, but he plugged in here with Live Good, and it's for a reason. And just to be a part of his organization is a blessing in disguise. Guys, all I could say is, get with the person that shared this with you. I mean, $50 is all in. $10 a month to maintain a membership, and the income's here. And I talked about myself a little bit because you asked me to, but we produced over 30 diamonds. I mean, we have 30 people earning over 30 people. It's probably about 34 now that are earning minimum $10,000 a month. Wow. And again, we're just getting started. This thing is worldwide. If you're hungry, if you're passionate, and if you really care about helping others, this is the big one, guys. This is taking basically the Costco model and putting it into a $1 billion industry called network marketing, but all coming in with the right ownership. You have the right tools, you have the right systems, you have the right products. I mean, it's all systems go right now. And all we're looking for now is the right people that want to help us take this to a $1 billion company, because it's going to happen. And you guys can be part of it at the beginning. So Dr. Breakthrough, I turn it back to you. Thank you, my man. If you want from me, I'm here. But we're just rocking and rolling, buddy.
Awesome. And actually, I call it membership marketing, because again,
exactly
that whole model. And Chris, one of the guys I know that you personally sponsored, he told me in 15 years he never made more than $500, and here he is this last month at over like $27,000. And all he's doing is loving people, and he even ended up in hospital for a while, and his check still went up, and his organization almost doubled. So this is something that's totally different. So folks, as you see on the screen here, Buckminster Fuller, he said it best. And he said this, my friend, as we come to a close, he said, you never change things by fighting the existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the existing model obsolete. And so get back to the person that invited you. They're going to show you a video. You go watch the video. You put your first name, your last name, your email address in, and then you can take the tour. The tour is not watching the video. The tour is going all through the back office, my friend. And then you can get started, my friend. And they even have a year option, which I did, that makes more sense. You save 20%. But my friend, I'm telling you something. If this could help Tim, and there's so many others, my friend, it could help you. So Tim, thank you again for sharing your story. And folks, listen, it's the start that stops most people. Don't let the start stop you. Get back to where I've invited you. Get their link and get started. Like you see me breaking these bricks on fire. It's time to get fired up, my friend, because health, get this now, without wealth is frustrating. When you have your energy and your vitality, but your car's being repossessed. It's frustrating. But wealth without health is futile. To be the Queen of England and dying and say, I will give up every penny to get my health back. So I say health with wealth is fantastic, and Live Good's going to help you to do that, my friend. So $49.99 to get started, only $9 a month, no authorship. Listen, my beautiful wife, my ABCD, we say if it's not win-win-win, we're not in. But whenever it's win-win-win, we're all the way in. So we're all the way in, and we trust you will be as well. If you see something here, my friend, join us, and let's help change the world, my friend, one person, one family at a time. And in some cases, we have whole organizations that are coming aboard. We hope you'll do the same. Hey, thank you, Tim. Appreciate you. God bless.
Thank you.